Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello there, lady.
Hello. How are you? How was your week?
Good. As much as I miss you and I wish you were here, it just feels back to normal
It
talking to
feels
you,
natural.
talking to you over the phone. We need to try it again face to face. I know that's like
Uh,
a not an easy request, but we got to try it. Try it again when we're not like so sick like last time that we
I
were doing that.
know. Because I could hear myself eating my lozenge.
Oh my gosh, I'm still recovering this week. It was horrible. The virus that we got at home, it lasted a good 3 weeks and it kept
Ugh.
morphing into different things. So I'm finally in less pain today. But I do have some good news. So we might have a new listener out there. So
Ooh, really?
so Johnny was mentioning our podcast at work, and one of his coworkers' mom watches GH, and he was going to tell her about it. So Mike's mom, if you're listening, hello and welcome.
Welcome. Enjoy the show.
And if any of you have sons named Mike, hi to you too.
Crazy.
So I want to I can't wait. Okay, so Dante is finally back. Like he's back, and we know this officially because Friday's episode aired. So let's just
Yes.
go back to the beginning of this week. So the one thing, and I've said this multiple times, the one like my one like soap opera thing that gets me is when it's the way they deliver information, like vital information, that it's always
Yes.
done like piecemeal, or they paraphrase wrong, or they leave out massive details, or it takes forever to get out of their mouth. And I think the worst is when you're telling someone, like, because Sunny's telling Dante something bad happened to Lulu. It's like, that's not how you want to lead in to something like that. It's just, hello, why don't you start with she's alive? Your
Exactly.
wife isn't dead, but
Oh gosh.
something happened that you should know about.
So when they zoomed in on, like when they went into the building and Dante was there with his beard, did he always have a beard? Because he looked hotter.
I knew you were gonna say that. Like just that he not even about like the beard, but just that like he looks hotter. He does, and it's because we haven't seen him in a while.
Maybe.
I
He was
don't
always
even know if that's
hot.
true. He was always hot. He's just hotter because he's like positioned as like kind of bad, like badder
We
Dante.
both have like serious problems.
I'm gonna. I don't consider it a problem. I consider it fun. But it's like it's really great to have him back. And okay, so you know what I felt bad? I felt bad for Sonny because
Hmm.
he's this big bad mobster, but less so in Turkey. I don't understand why he would come alone. Like, what's the point of having mob and connections worldwide if you're just gonna go and do something like this by yourself? But either way, I feel bad for both because Dante had a
Same.
plan. He was on his way
Oh,
home, and basically when he revealed to Sunny, he looked like a puppy when he kind of finds out that Sunny's showing up ultimately put a damper on his plan to come home because he was on his way home.
exactly. That whole thing was kind of hilarious, frustrating, sad all at the same time. So I like what you said about Sonny not using his mom connections. It's like a celebrity coming from Europe and coming to Canada. We don't know who they are. Like Sonny's appeal, his leadership, his role in Port Charles. He was just like a regular schmo walking around Turkey that nobody took seriously. It was kind of funny.
Well,
I
they
mean, they
thought
thought
he
he was
was
a
a
cop,
cop.
right?
Yeah, so it wasn't working in his favor, and he's so lucky to have met that little kid, which I find it sucks because even though he just did a short stint in Turkey, I find
Yeah.
like he's really made an impression. I would love to have him in Port Charles.
Oh, that's exactly what I had in my notes. I'm like, maybe I was hoping that Sunny would like not adopt
Adopt
him, but
him.
like take him back and like bring him under his wing and like try to support him. I do hope that he finds a way to get back in the show because I found there was such a connection and he did really steal the scene.
He was really good. And you know what? The kid is really resourceful. He might find his way into Port Charles and kind of insert himself into Sonny's life, whether he likes it or not. Okay, so they come up with a plan.
Oh God, I was dying. Okay, continue.
Dante and Sunny. This is me just being really picky, but and I'm not even going to like the funniest part of the whole like charade. But when that guard came to see Dante and was like, "What happened to your dad?" And he's like, oh, I had to put him down. How does that make any sense? Sunny, like, did you see the position Sunny was lying down? Like,
Yes.
for you to have killed him outside the cell, he would have had to been looking at you. You would have had to shoot
Right.
him. He would have had to fallen forward, and there would have been blood somewhere. Like, did you just like Jedi mind trick your dad down?
Oh gosh.
And that's
I can't breathe.
and that's nothing compared to when they go upstairs and see Raj. And at this point, like, you're having a full-on conversation. Sunny is hilarious in the background, like hilarious.
Like I couldn't even. I was staring at this. I'm like, is this for real? Is this like actually happening? This is like super soap opera right now. He's just standing, kind of looking away in costume. He might as well have just put on sunglasses and pretended he was invisible.
In defense of the storyline, I think to, and this might sound super geeky, okay, but that goes to show, the guards are nothing, and he doesn't pay attention to who's there.
No, that is a very, very valid point.
So, I mean, guy in uniform, he's not closely paying attention, but I mean, come on, like he offered to dispose of the body. Like as he's like right behind. He's like, oh man, Dante, I'm gonna like we'll handle that. And he doesn't even pick up on the fact that it's Sunny until Sunny shoots his gun. And that's like later. So I mean, had that little kid not showed up, I mean, he wouldn't have noticed. And I hate to say it because it looks like Dante was super traumatized. We even got a clue today when we saw his back all scarred up. He's already hinted to Sunny how bad things were. So it looks like we're going to see a little bit of like his struggle with the darkness, but it doesn't sound like we're going to see, let's say, like a Dante who turned evil kind of a thing, which is what I was kind of hoping for. Like, not evil.
Know.
But the thing is, it's just that if Raj didn't notice Sunny just standing right behind you, how hard was he for a guy to take down?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking the same thing. Like, why did you have to be there for so long if he's like not that bright?
It didn't seem like he was all that bright. But anyways, like I like we're enjoying that whole Raj Sunny scene, but just going to a comment right now. Blue Kai Girl 1 says, how did this dude not see Sunny? I mean, he was standing right there looking at him. I just think it was an amazing moment for me. Like, that was just great comedy. I really, really loved it. And that's the thing. Like, so there was a Sunny fail because he showed up and it didn't really help Dante at all. Well, it did help him in the sense that it forced Dante to make a huge move, and he ended up shooting Raj. And I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Dante didn't even hesitate. He just shot him, and I'm like, good. Like, good. And so then on top of Sunny ruining everything, the little kid comes in.
I know. It's
so
like everybody just stay where we're supposed to.
It was a whole freaking mess. But I kind of figured, and I did love it, Robert kind of showing up at the end, all like, all in a day's work, kind of a deal.
It was very like kind of old school classic, like the soap operas, duping people, twins. Like I felt like it really had a lot of elements that made the story. 'Cause I didn't know where it was going to go at some point. Honestly, at some points I got bored because it was intertwined with the Ryan story.
Yes,
like a week ago.
Yeah,
but they really took it back, and I really enjoyed it because in its own right, it was really good, taking away the Ryan stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was just really. It was really funny. Like, that's what I'm gonna say. It was just really funny this week. And Dante comes home, and I mean, hell, if Dante was coming home to me, I'd jump that too. So that was some amazing.
That was some making out, let me tell you. But then the like scars on his back, I was so sad.
Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen because he was on that This Is Awesome's podcast, so Stone Cold and the Jack, so Steve Martin and Bradford Anderson's podcast, and so he signed a 10-episode contract.
Oh, interesting.
So he's already done a couple of episodes just chilling in Turkey. So I don't really know. I'm just curious to see how his story is gonna develop if he doesn't have that many episodes to go.
Well, I think that based on the scars on his back and just how he kept focusing on the darkness, I don't think like he's going to go dark in terms of like becoming a bad guy.
No.
But it may be along the lines of like PTSD or like one of those things that he may have to go away in order to feel better.
Well, I feel horrible because today Lulu asked him, don't ever leave again. He said no. And I'm like, pretty sure you can't keep that promise.
Exactly. As soon as she said that, like, I didn't know about the 10 episode thing, but as soon as she said, I never want you to leave again, I'm like, yep, he's going to be gone very soon.
Oh man, so I feel really really bad for her. So who knows how they're gonna kind of deal with like a second separation, because like I mean if he's not going to come back regularly or maybe comes back here and there, like I just don't know what's going to happen if at some point it merits recasting, which I think would be really weird at this point because I think it's
Yeah.
really his role.
Absolutely, absolutely. It would be a little bit strange. I mean, it would keep the story going, and being a fan, you do want to see the story unfold a certain way. But I would have a hard time transitioning to a new Dante like person.
Yeah, me too. Like I adjusted to like the new Jason over time because I was just so
Hmm.
happy to have him back into the story. But I don't know. I really like Dante visually, so we'll see how that.
I'm
how
going to
that.
use that line in life. I really like you
so
visually.
okay, so the weird thing is the whole thing gets resolved. He's back. He's back in bed with Lulu. Sunny's at the hospital. I'm sorry, like you know your wife has a high risk pregnancy. How long are you going to stare at her bruised face without picking up on the fact that something's wrong? You have a little nick on your arm. It's not
I
even a real
know.
gunshot wound.
Oh my God,
And
it was a flesh wound. Get over it and get into what's happening right now.
like I mean he didn't seem like it wasn't a big deal to him. Carly was freaking out
Hmm.
over it, but I'm just saying like her face is visibly bruised and he had
Yes.
nothing for her, like nothing. Like I was like, did they already talk about this? But then as the episode unfolds and you see like it coming up like, oh, there's something I need to tell you, I was like, really, he really didn't know. But I liked Sunny's swiftness when it came to Ryan Chamberlain, like just
Yes.
fine, they make sure he's dead, like I just like that. I prefer that.
I'd like to do so. There was two things that I kind of was thinking in that scene. That Sonny was so scared of being gone for so long, and the fact that he came home with a bruise because he was looking at Carly like, "Are you really mad? Are you actually mad right now?" Like he just wanted her to be okay in what he did. So I thought that part was
Yeah.
kind of funny. He was like
Well,
scared of
because
Lily's husband.
we know that ultimately, like he knows ultimately he wasn't of that much help other than being emotional support to Dante home.
Yes. And then he was gone. So then when all that cleared away, and I did really like, I hope that now Jason will talk to Laura because they kind of had that partnership when they were driving up to Niagara Falls. And I hope that he finds a way to tell her that he has the resources because poor Charles doesn't really have the resources to get to Ryan.
They don't have the resources to deal with local crime,
I
much less
know.
this. Like, I mean, I just say
Gosh.
I think it's wishful thinking, like Laura's hope that they can do anything at this point. So not
True.
just about that, you know, Jason also stepped in to tell Sunny that things have gotten really far, and I'm really glad that
Oh,
he
me
didn't
too.
like. He's not really swayed by Sam. Like when she's like, "Give me more time," tell him not to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get that it's her sister, but it's Sunny's daughter, so obviously he's you know he's gonna be prompted to take action as quickly as possible. So so now we have a lot of people involved in the cult storyline, and we saw how things
Oh,
went this week,
yes.
and it's interesting. I do have to say this though,
Mm-hmm.
like it is getting more interesting for sure, and we're understanding. Okay, so this is what I understand so far.
Mm-hmm.
Shiloh is controlling.
Yes.
He's super creepy and douchey. There's a dark side, but we still don't actually know what he's capable of. Like we saw him creep the crap out of Willow. We saw that she's terrified of him, really.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I still don't know what is it that he is based, because the thing is he's isolating them, he's
Yes.
manipulating them. I just don't know yet, and I mean I guess none of us do really, but what is he taking advantage of? Like what is he using these people for ultimately?
Same. I was thinking the same thing. Like when he was talking to Willow, obviously they had a relationship together. Is it that? Is it control over women? Is it money? Is it power? Like what is it that he's seeking for
No,
himself? Not only for himself, but from his inner circle or circle of trust or whatever the hell it was called.
I feel like money has to be involved somehow because it's come up more than once. You know, how do you sustain it all? Okay,
Mm.
so let's just break this down. There were so many little
I
pieces that
know. Oh my
happened.
gosh.
So
Yes.
starting with, let's say, Michael. So Michael has finally been brought into the loop. Like this poor
He's
guy.
so
Like
cute. He's so cute.
he's so adorable. And it's just really funny because it's like in real life he is like this goof, and in the show he's supposed to play this serious person. But I think there was an expectation, like last week when Jason was talking with him and Molly. I think there was this
Mm.
expectation that Michael would be sound and a good person to kind of talk with Christina. But you know what? No, it didn't really work out that way. He just found out. He's super creeped out by everything. And, he's on the verge of being kicked out of her life too.
Absolutely. I really like though that he approached Chase about this. I
Me
liked their little
too.
bromance situation. It's kind of weird because the whole Willow commonality. However, I
I don't think
really,
that'll get
really,
between those guys. They're I feel like they're too nice. They're
they
too nice
really
to each other.
are. But that scene was great. That he just that the name Donna Day came up, that it brought it up to Chase, and then when Willow walked up and dropped the glasses, it was such a great scene that like kind of elevated where things would go next.
Yes, and so remember last week I was saying chasing Snow because Valerie knew, but Valerie's not really here anymore, so it's neither here nor there. But I was
Yes.
saying it would be important for Chase to kind of be aware of what's happening. So I was really glad about that, but I'm also glad that he's like that as a detective, he's
Mm-hmm.
showing that like he's not just pretty. Like it's obvious that there's a connection between Willow and Shiloh based on her reaction. Like he knew it
Yes.
from there. And I'm kind of surprised that like Michael didn't. I mean, you don't want to pressure Willow, but I'm surprised that Michael didn't like acknowledge something further. That it's not just Willow's woman's intuition, but that she has more of a connection to DoD. Kind of surprised because he's not dumb. Like he's pretty intuitive.
Well, he's not them, and he was in a situation with her with their what was that thing that they went to? Like that group they went together. So she might not necessarily have divulged a whole lot of information, but he was with her on a deeper level to understand her reactions. I would feel a bit more.
Yeah. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we had the scene with Willow and Chase and Shiloh today. So, at the very least, Chase explicitly acknowledged that, hello, like, tell me what's really going on. I know that you're lying to me, but we don't really know until we see scenes next week that we can tell that Michael, gets it too. That it's a lot more severe than it is. I just couldn't believe Shiloh had the nerve to like touch her face and continue to act menacing in front of the detective.
I know, like okay,
Because it
even
was
before
menacing.
it really was his tone of voice, his approach to her, how he kept. But even before Chase got there, the he kept trying to close the proximity between the two of them,
Yeah.
and trying to get closer. And then he got obviously as close to her as we saw when he touched her chin. And when he touched her, like oh my god, I got so creeped
So
out.
grossed
I just
out.
wanted to punch him in the face because, like as a woman, as a mom, as like just everything in you, you just want to rip his eyes apart.
I was just kind of surprised that Chase didn't do more, or that he didn't pull
I
his gun out at that point and been like, "Get out," Like, and very quickly Chase realized that the guy was a threat. And I'm sorry, but
yes.
after that whole scenario, did she really think Chase would back down or be like, "Yeah, it's all good, it's cool"? And he made some really good points today. What is you running off going to do? Like, you're actually dating someone that's sweet, who's a cop, who knows you're in trouble, and that can protect you and believes you.
Exactly, exactly. Like she's built up her trust with Chase. Like that is a real relationship. It's not, and maybe it is her first relationship after Dawn of Day.
It looks like it is.
Yeah, it does really look like it is. What did you think about the whole circle of trust and giving up a secret? So that means
Oh,
Willow has given
that
up a
dumb dumb.
secret. Oh my god, did you want to? Oh my god, I could not handle it. Like I wanted to smack her. Like I felt very violent this week. I guess I wanted to just be like Christina, come on. And not only are you not going to tell your own secret because apparently you don't have any,
She
you're going to
doesn't.
tell somebody else's secret. Like, are you freaking serious right now?
Well, I knew that she was gonna end up doing that. For some reason, even before he had said it doesn't have to be about you, it could be about
Mm-hmm.
anyone, kind of a thing. I kind of knew she would rat on her family. As it is, how much detail of her family has she given freely to Dawn of Day? She's given out Sam's
True.
address. Like she said where she's mentioned where she lives. She's told her whole like past story to these people. She's told stories that do not belong to her, like repeatedly.
So we keep talking about the aftermath of Ryan. Well, the aftermath of Christina is going to be next level.
I really don't know, like, cause how she's going to cope with all of this because she's been so certain of herself that I don't think she's in a place to even like latch on to the parts that are good that you want to keep that actually,
Mm-hmm.
was her work versus everything else. And I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're in a lose lose situation. Like, it just doesn't make any. It's just hard because like Molly's trying really hard, and
Yes.
Alexis really wasn't even pushing all that much. She was just trying to find. It just looked like here, guys. Because honestly, Alexis doesn't really appear like she gets it or she cares about where Christina lives or what she's doing. Really, When it comes to Dawn of Day, she's like, Christina's being nicer to me, so I don't really care. And she never
Oh
actually
my
seems
God.
concerned.
You're absolutely right. She's like, we're getting along and I don't want to rock the boat.
Pretty much. And I just feel like maybe Sam should just let Molly in. She's not an idiot. Like, if you tell her,
That's, oh,
she'll back off and play along with whatever needs to happen so that Christina is safe.
I thought the first time, like when she hugged her when she was leaving, when Sam had to, like she had to go see a client, but she was headed to Shiloh's. She hugged Molly and she said, just make sure you understand that whatever you say is going to push her closer if you disagree with her. But I really thought in that moment that she should have let her in a little bit more as to what was going on. I agree with you. Molly's smart. She would have been on board. All she wants is for Christina to get out of the cult. And
And
all
it,
what happened afterwards is just worse off than where they were before.
and it's just like I guess Christina just doesn't see how extreme it is. Like they all have different lives. They've never always agreed with each other. But since when?
Mm-hmm.
At what point in time did they ever really kick each other out of their lives because you didn't agree with something? So they might have disagreed, but the lines of communication were always open, good or bad.
Exactly. You're never going to make everyone the same exact choice. You're always going to have different opinions. But yeah, it's getting scarier. And for whatever reason, like every time I see Christina, it's like part of me wants to hug her and part of me wants to just smack her.
Oh yeah, I really want to smack her at this point because she thinks she's right, and she
Mm-hmm.
feels proud that she's making Shiloh proud, and
Yes.
it
Oh,
really grossed me out when she told like Sam like, oh, at least I still have you. It's like, really, that is so ridiculously gross, and I'm curious about who she told, like whose secret she's planning on divulging, because that's a huge betrayal. And I just don't know, like, Christina, like, do you not have a brain? Do you find it weird that every time your sister, like every time Sam says she's leaving or leaves the family thing, she's always at dawn of day? It's really weird.
I know. And you know what? And to make this story worse, because it just seems like the point of the story is for Christina to fall rock bottom, lower than whatever rock bottom is that her secret's going to be about Sam.
I think so too. I was wondering if she'd go to her dad, but at this point, it's been like the storyline has really targeted Sam as well. So I think it would have something to do with her, and I don't know what's going to happen with all of them. All I know is that Jason may not have been wrong when he said, "Let's just eliminate Shiloh and problem solved."
Agreed. I so agreed with Jason,
I
especially
was
when
like,
there was that.
finally.
Oh, right. Like, get to the point here because when I saw Shiloh want to be around Danny, I was losing it. Like, you can leave him with me and go to the bathroom. You have never met her son before. This is her pride and joy. And you're like some stranger that, oh, what? You don't trust me? Oh my God. And then when Jason saw him
That was
at
hilarious.
Kelly's,
Scary, but funny to
oh,
see his face just plastered in the background.
yes, it was. And you know that there's going to be some sort of like he is not going to move from that window until Shiloh is very far away from Danny.
I really don't think he should leave. It's really gross and it's really scary, but I am so looking forward to this. And maybe this is one of those stings put together that will actually work. Because he did help to catch Nell. It went awry, the whole thing, but it still worked.
Wait, who helped to catch Nell?
Chase, like when he started working
Oh,
together with
right,
Michael and did the whole
right.
thing. So I'm just wondering, would he work with Michael again? Would he fill Michael in that maybe there is something you should be worried about? It just sucks because it's like I kind of don't see Sam like reaching out at all. Like I think Sam is so fixated on her plan and staying close to Christina
Mm-hmm.
that it's like if there was more communication, like let's just say between Michael and Chase, and then Michael and Jason, because now he's aware that now Michael is aware that there's a problem. But imagine if this got to Sam. That's a lot of people that you can work with effectively. Like Willow could inform Sam on everything she needs to know as she keeps moving up in the cult. This is if Sunny doesn't take control first.
That's true. Sam is losing sight. Like she's so focused that she's not using her resources. She's not using her PI Sam detective brain. She's using her Sam sister brain, and there's a
Well,
big
because she's
difference.
but the thing is, I get it because it's so on shaky grounds. Look how quickly she's dismissing people right out of her life. She did it to her
Yes.
mom. She did it to her sister. She did it to Valerie, and I feel like Michael is kind of included in that. And I do agree with the argument that if let's say they take out Shiloh, but nothing about the cult gets uncovered, I do think it would kind of eat at her, and she would feel guilty about Shiloh. So I do agree that, like, I don't know what it would do to her if something happened to Shiloh. I don't know.
Agreed. Like personally, I would want him just taken out. But if the whole cult is not taken down, then that leaves room for, that woman from Beecher's Corner to take over, or for somebody else to take over, and for that message to still be propelled. And Christina is so sucked in by this Shiloh thing, and she's so vulnerable and weak already, that exactly that. I just like I see like a Ferncliff situation if that were to happen.
Oh, that would be so bad, but maybe she needs it.
Shock therapy, here you come.
So, okay, there was a lot of, like, let's just try to take this into a lighter note, but there were so many other little, just smaller stories, like smaller interactions that happened this week. This one might be like medium, it's not terribly small, but
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on Anna and Alex?
So Anna and Alex, honestly, when I start off the week, I literally wrote down "so bored." LOL. Wednesday came around, I put more bored.
Yeah,
That
that's
was it.
the thing is, it's like when it comes to these evil twins, I gotta say, Alex was a little bit more interesting. It's just that, Anna's not doing herself any favors. Is she not supposed to be a spy? Like, as a good spy? So why is it that you're crumbling every time you have to interrogate someone with Dr. Cabber, with anybody? She just kind of like freaks out every time. I'm like, how do you function as a spy if, like, you seem to crumble so easily? You seem to get emotional and lose it so easily.
Was she ever really the spy?
Oh god, it's so stupid. And, like, I just have a couple of problems with this, okay? It's
A
just
couple?
the whole negotiating eye surgeries. He's a doctor, so ethically he has to do these surgeries no matter what. And you keep
Yes.
exchanging surgeries for, like, the truth. I don't know if you know this, but international criminals tend to lie.
I didn't. Maybe she didn't realize that. Maybe she didn't realize that people lie, make false promises because they want their sight back.
Exactly. And they don't have, like, the last guy managed to get the surgery before he even told them anything. And her, like, first of all, you've already acknowledged that you don't trust Alex. So what is the
Yes.
point of going through this? And you're such a smart spy that you think that whole experiment was to transfer one memory?
Right?
That
Oh
one
my
mission.
freaking goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. Like I could not believe that she was like, okay, give her the surgery now. Ugh.
And how would Alex know? I mean, unless, like, she's really in on it, but I mean, to know each and every memory that was transferred, like, how would you even know that?
I think that Alex did have like she was a willing volunteer. So she would say like I don't know, how do they even pick these memories? Like I'm gonna think about this memory right this second. You're going to extract it and put it into her brain like right now.
Hell, I'm not a scientist, so I can't really get into all of the specifics with you. But
Oh my
anyway,
god, imagine we were soap scientists. That would be so fun. We have to have an episode on soap science.
so I don't know if she exactly what you said. I don't know if there were just specific memories that she gave, but it's just like I loved her exchanges with Finn. They were so interesting. Like, my favorite line that came from Alex was about Finn was, he's been very handsome and attentive.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's so true. I giggle so much. So handsome. I love it. I love it. It was the best. And he seemed confused because obviously she looks just like Anna and then she's all weird. So he was kind of looking at her funny and I liked that.
Yeah, it's called, like, she's a little bit more attractive in the sense of, like, her personality. She's a little more laid back, a little less high strung. But yeah, like, when she was telling Finn, like, maybe I didn't tell the truth. Well, no, like, of course she didn't tell the full truth. Again, apparently they think that there was only one memory transfer, and I'm just saying, Anna, get to the point. If you're gonna be, like, kicking and screaming and like a little kid, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
should kind of take Alex's advice. Do you really want to go digging around in every single bad memory? No, I think it's stupid. If you've lived all your life with these now, like, what does it do? Like, you already found out one thing, but because the memory has already been implanted, it feels real to you. So what does it matter? It seems like the only important question here is that kid mine? Is Peter
Yes.
mine?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, why
Only
aren't you
tangible
asking
thing.
the thing that you really want to know? Or is she not thinking about this? Like, does she truly so believe that it's real or doesn't want to know the truth? But I'm like, this is the one thing you should be asking her. The only thing. Also, you don't have to ask her if it was her memory. Take her damn DNA and Peter's damn DNA and figure it out for yourself.
She can do it with her own DNA. Like, she doesn't even.
Science.
She didn't even. That's real science, but she doesn't
I
even need
know.
Alex for the whole thing. So that's all
I
I
know.
gotta say about that. I just think it's super ridiculous, and once again, I find, like, the spies are losing. Like all
Agreed.
this experience and this is like your best tactics is just
Okay,
it's really
okay.
not good.
But did you like her last line when she was going into the elevator when Alex said something to the effect
About
of like,
Robert?
Robert? I'm like, ooh, what does this mean? Did she
I'm like,
sleep with Robert?
yeah, I'm like, what did you do with Robert? Imagine Robbins is Alex. Anyways, whatever.
Oh
No, that would
my.
like undo all kinds of history. It'd be really, really
Okay, okay,
horrible.
okay, okay.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
curious to know um what Robert knows about Alex. Because don't you feel like he knows something? When he had his last fight with Peter, it
Mm-hmm.
just felt like he knew for sure that something was off. So I don't know. I feel like there might be something fishy. I think Peter might be Alex's. I don't know.
I think so too. I definitely think that Peter's Alex's. And even though I'm not sure what's going on with Robert, they're putting a really great opening for a fun storyline.
I think so. He's got a he actually he had quite a few mentions this week because you have Alex mentioning him, and then they alluded to the fact that Olivia and Robert had some sort of texting friendship.
I thought that was hilarious. Just the look that Lulu and Carly gave her, like, you text Robert? Like, it was like teenage girls being like, you text this guy and nobody knows.
But didn't you love that? Because we always talk that we love it when like the characters get mixed up. And the thing is, they have a connection. We haven't even seen Carly and Olivia together in a long time. And it was really
True.
cute that the two girls came to the house. They were asking about Dante and everything. But I love their interaction. I love how okay, despite Olivia's overreaction, where I think she almost slapped her own
Mm-hmm.
face,
Yes.
figuring out that Carly was
Oh
pregnant.
gosh.
It was really cute. It was really cute, and they were like kind of quizzing her a little bit. So I thought that whole thing was really adorable that they're actually taking the time to tell people kind of slowly and individually.
Well, I like that she figured how she figured it out. Like, what do you mean you didn't have any coffee? And then she's like, well, you have, Olivia's like, she knows how many coffees that Carly has a day, which I thought was cute. Yes, they work together. And then she's like, but wait a second. The last time you were like this was when you were with Josh. Like, just that, there's history. They may not be best friends, but she knows her so well and they work together and that she pieced it together because everybody knows Carly's eating habits, food habits, drinking habits.
But then like the nerd soap opera fan got to me. I didn't do any research because I'm also a little lazy. But then I started to wonder, was Olivia actually around when Joss was a baby? Because
Oh,
she came in with Dante.
right.
So that's for someone to look up and maybe comment over and let us know.
We will leave that open ended. If anybody wants to make a comment, let us know, please.
And so Carly, those aren't the only people she told this week. So she told Mike and Michael that she was pregnant. And you know what I'm gonna steal? I'm gonna steal Mike's line. I think that's the most polite response to anything people tell you that you just have no reaction to, that you're just sort of like, huh.
What
Or
did
you
he say?
need
I can't
he's
remember.
he says, well, what do you know? I love it. It's neutral. It doesn't suggest that you're happy or not happy. You may care, you may not care. It says nothing. And I loved it. Well, what do you know? You
I'm going to
know,
use that at work. That is a very good line. Thank you for mentioning that.
I love it. It's just such a
That
like
is a
peace.
lifeline.
It's like a peacemaker line. And then Michael like said happy words, but his face looked like ew.
I know. I loved it. I loved it because he's like, that's the best thing I've heard in a long time. But like his brain and face
It
didn't
didn't look
connect.
like it. It didn't really look like it was the best thing he's heard
Well, because I
in a long
think
time.
that made him think that they had to do it in order for that to
I
happen.
think that is exactly what Joss thought too. I think I think she was just sort of like, I thought you guys stopped doing it because I was with you, so I was kind of hoping that that was the deal. So Michael goes to the bar to get celebratory drinks and then bumps into Sasha and doesn't care to celebrate no more and wants to have drinks with her.
and, and like, did he give away the drink and then bring that same drink to the table? Because they all had umbrellas in front of Oh God. And him talking about exes is like the funniest thing for me.
I don't think he should ever do that. I think of all people, he should not do that.
So here's what I figured out about Michael and what I love about when he has to meet people. So one, when he introduces who people are, and second, when he speaks about his exes. Like when it comes to him and talking about his Port Charles connections and relationships, it's always hilarious because it's so bizarre.
It is, and it's interesting to see how he spins it. which he should
True.
probably be in PR rather than a CEO. I feel like he's so childlike, you know, like he's a baby. This is why Sasha laughed at him when he said he was CEO, because this is how everyone else feels. He would be really great at a PR company
Michael,
if they were being more logical in
yes,
terms of
he
like
was like
stepping up in the
realistic.
world.
Well, yeah, not like fast track CEO, fast track doctor, but if it was like real potential jobs for the
Well, you
character
see what happens when you
personality.
fast track, you die. So
Just life lesson, people. Life
yeah,
lesson.
yeah, don't fast track. Michael survived, but Kiki didn't. So just may want to just take the scenic route.
Absolutely. But Sasha getting, I mean, if she only knew what he's experienced, that tiny little lie that she's living with is nothing in
It's nothing.
comparison.
It's nothing. It's really nothing. All she's doing is pretending to be someone's daughter. And then she found out that maybe it wasn't such a good idea, that maybe Valentine wasn't like on the up and up. And she really cares for Nina now. Again, like you're right. It's just such a like baby crime compared to everything that goes on in Port Charles. So what's the deal? She's like feels that guilty that she says I like you and then runs off. Like she feels that guilty. Like I'm sorry, you come to town. If you're gonna be maid of honor and you're gonna be all up in Nina's life, suck it up
Yes.
and date Michael. Like you want to be in this life, then be in this life.
And it's such a nice perk, you know?
It really is, and a lot of people had some opinions on Michael's love life. So Parker Hadia said, "Oh, I really like hashtag Masha.
Aw.
Interesting, like cute pet name." So, but knowing Michael, he's already got his teeth locked in her like a dog. A Corinthos man always goes after the woman they want, no matter how much said woman rejects them. It's the
Hmm.
Corinthos way. So maybe Michael
Okay,
won't give up.
maybe he won't give up. You know, back in the day, that used to be called romantic.
uh, they pursue.
They
They
pursue. I
pursue.
understand the pursuit, the chase, no pun intended, and just going
No,
after the
but
woman that they care about. So I get it, and I do see the pattern. So it is a very valid point.
yeah, I don't think Michael would let go of this. He did let go of Willow, though.
True,
He
very
did let go
true.
of Willow, but I think they still have a chance. I don't think he knew what was happening, because if you watch the scenes, he never actually stopped smiling. Really, he's like, "Well, she likes me, so I guess." I think that might be all he heard
Yes.
in that scene. But the poor guy at this point, he's like trying to date. So he did the online dating, and then this whole thing with Sasha, and he's probably like, "What? What? This is
Dating is
hard."
confusing.
Mel, come
Yes,
back to me.
exactly.
Dating is so hard. I'll take that.
I could just picture a scene where they're like touching hands on the glass.
Oh, gross. We have another one. So Bonnie W108 said it's Michael's turn for some happiness. I agree, don't you think?
Oh,
And
yes.
if he has some, can it be longer than a week? I mean, seriously, hook him up with someone worthy and not a liar or con artist. And I agreed with that until you sort of pointed out that if you compare Sasha's crimes to just anything anyone's done in Port Charles, it's just really not that bad.
It really isn't. And there's very few people who have not done something bad in Port Charles. So it's really a sliding scale.
Exactly. And it wasn't her idea. She got roped in, and her intention was to come in for a few days and then leave. She did pick up on the fact that Valentine was dangerous, and I think she's done a really good job staying on his good side while trying to say that she's not okay with this. And I think she realized there's not much room to push with Valentine. So I think
So
that says something about how smart she is, because I think she does get that he's a little bit dangerous. And also the fact that she just pointing that maybe she, I think she's redeeming herself, that she's also warning Peter that she really does care about Nina. So fake daughter or not, she does seem to have Nina's best interest at heart.
okay, so there was twofold. So that conversation, exactly that. I did think she was trying to demonstrate how strong their bond is and how far they've come, and that she really cares about Nina. But do you think that Valentine told her to kind of push it a little bit further, and that she, or that, I guess maybe that Valentine confided in Sasha that she know that Maxie and Peter are working together, and she's trying to protect Peter in a sense too.
But she's trying to protect Peter.
Well, yeah, Peter and Maxie by saying, like, leave it alone. Because in the end, the message was, yes, I love Nina, but a part of that message was, leave it alone. Like, leave it alone. She made that clear many times.
She did. And I know I said that she seems to know how dangerous Valentine really is.
Hmm.
But honestly, everyone else has a bigger history with Peter. I mean, with Valentine, especially Peter. So I don't I feel like she, if anything, she's covering more her butt and Nina's. Because that's what
Okay.
she's been scared about the whole time with Valentine. Like, they're going to find out, or I know she's running a DNA test. Like, I don't really know if she is looking out for Maxie. Because I
Okay.
don't think Peter needs to be looked out for. But it is interesting because maybe there is something else she's picking up on Valentine. Like maybe I don't know, maybe she really does think he's dangerous then. So I am curious to know, and I wonder if we're actually going to get any clues to what her motives actually were, because that is an interesting theory.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm really that was like a very interesting. And then Peter kind of running right over to Maxie and stating, here's what's happening. This is Sasha. I think Sasha knows because she's trying to cover her tracks.
Well, it's just so funny because everybody seems to kind of know what the deal is without really saying anything out loud. And just one more comment that touches on Sasha and Michael a little bit. So this is from Twitter at the Pretty Pixie said this, and I noticed this too. So notice even though Michael was with Sasha, they still
Mm-hmm.
had Maxie in the vicinity. They're trying out Maximista with all the guys. Love her with Mike, love her with Chet, love her with Peter. Just love her. Sasha, not so much. Sasha's probably going to start sleeping with Valentine, which means she might not be so scared of him if that happens.
Oh, I really hope that does not happen. But I did like Maxie's scene with Chet and Lulu.
But of course, I could see Lulu kind of poking at Maxie because it was so blatant, the flirting. But I mean, Maxie can do that, and I could see her doing that to kind of make somebody else feel really good too. But it did seem that way. It does sort of sometimes feel like they're testing Maxie out because she seems to have she has a strong bond with Chet. Yes, she's
Yes.
basically dating Pierre. I don't know why they're just not saying that out loud. But I did find it interesting that they are pulling Michael into her orbit through Sasha.
Well, it's like I feel like Peter and her, like you said, it's like, do they know they're dating this time? But we haven't actually seen any romantic scenes. They're just working on this project together. So is it more so that her heart is open to finding somebody else, but she's just not sure who that somebody else is right now? And why wouldn't they just, commit to each other, her and Peter, like, this is my boyfriend or this is my girlfriend? But instead, she has all these different people coming around.
I think she's still uncomfortable dating, and I think they showed that her by her going to like see Nathan, and she's kind of mentioned it. It's weird. It's Nathan's brother, so I think she's taking it slow, and she feels weird, and she's always like the thing she liked the most with Peter is kind of like that fake boyfriend feel. They were super
Mm.
close. She's getting all the needs, kind of her emotional needs met without it being too scary right now. I think that might be it. I think she does like Peter. I don't mind them taking it slow, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just, it might be something that's comfortable or for a limited amount of time.
Comfortable and easy. That's what
Mm-hmm.
Peter is. Yeah. He's like a shoe.
He's like a transition.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, totally.
speaking a little bit, actually, no, I'll wait for that fun after we talk about something a little sad.
Oh no. Oh
So,
God. Yes. Okay. No.
well, I mean, there's not much to say other than like the doctor made it clear when Kim tried telling Oscar, sometimes there's errors with scans. The doctor's like, no, there's
Oh.
no error. He is dying. He's super dying, and he has a month, and his tumor is bigger. It's hard. It sucks.
Oh, it was so sad. But when he asked everybody to leave the room, and it was just Oscar and Kim together, and them hugging, and him talking to her, and then just saying over and over how much he appreciates her and loves her, I was bawling like the ugly cry, like I couldn't even.
To avoid doing that, I was just kind of like writing note, typing crying emojis in my phone, so I didn't have to fully register that whole thing, and it was really really sweet. Maybe I'm in denial, so like he's gonna die.
I really think like
I need to
I
see
think in
it.
that scene too, I had to face facts of that this storyline might really be going in this direction. Like we've talked about it kind of jokingly that his organs are going to go to Jordan, or we've kind of made some dark jokes. But I think I had to almost face facts myself that this character is going to be leaving, and then Kim and Drew are going like it just and all the people who are going to suffer from his loss. Like it was really, I got really sucked into that moment.
Because it was really real. And even before that, the moment when Joss got that good news about that school thing, and she was invited to this college, and the date was like way past,
It was like
like months
August.
away. Yeah, it was months away.
Yes.
And it was just kind of weird because like it was just interesting the way the scene was because she's trying to protect Oscar, but then there was like a visual division with Oscar on the bed
Mm-hmm.
and a future with Joss's things and with Cam, and them having sort of like their own personal understanding.
And them standing so close together.
They do that a lot. But yeah, so
They
it's just
do.
visually, it was really sad, you know, like her past and her future.
Oh, that's a
Um,
really good, very good observation.
so yeah, it was really interesting. It wasn't a lot this week, but it was still really like potent. And another really like
Hmm.
notable thing was that Julian finally got to go to the hospital.
I
Well, finally decided
know.
to kind of like show up rather than wait to be invited. And I mean, come on. He's trying to be nice with Drew. He brings
Mhm.
the guy a coffee. He's hesitant. He takes it, and he did not mind handing that coffee off to Franco.
But did you see the look that Drew gave Julian? Like he
He
gave him
doesn't
almost some
like the
side eye.
guy. But like, let's be honest. You don't like Julian because of Jason's memories. Like, what do you not
All
like? I don't understand.
right.
Like, you
I was
know,
thinking
like,
more so feelings towards Kim and just
yeah,
like you said,
that too.
Julian's never at the hospital. So whenever Drew and Kim are together at the hospital, if Drew wants to admit or not, they get to be in this bubble together. They're supporting each other together. There's not this third person, and all of a sudden,
It
here's
is
Julian.
weird. It is weird because who's he gonna hug? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, when there's bad news, like, what's he gonna do? He's gonna have to bring a pillow. Like, it's just it's awkward. It really, really is. And I can see why the scenes
Oh,
are much easier when it's just Kim and Drew having to deal with Oscar and having Julian there. Yeah, it's it's awkward, and I don't know. I don't
how
know
did
what's
you
gonna
like
happen.
talking about awkward though? How did you feel about Drew's conversation with Elizabeth to help her figure out the situation with Franco?
Oh my gosh, I rewound like a few times. I'm like, is he bringing up their past relationship when she took this like practically like broken man? It was like, come to my home, and that's how they started. But like, it's really funny because Drew was trying. I think this is what he was trying to do. Like, you make broken men better. Like, I don't know if that's what he was trying to say. Like, you
Yes.
make people better. Like, your love helps
Uh,
better people. But I was
yeah.
just finding it really hilarious because right now Elizabeth is questioning her ability to choose what's good for the kids because over time she's never really denied herself a guy, no matter who they were.
Yes.
She's never really denied herself that. And so for the kids, and so when Drew kind of goes and brings the example and uses himself, like, you were there for me, and I'm like, well, that's an example of her not taking the kids into consideration. She took a patient that had no identity,
Yep.
found on the side of the road, into her home, and just freely exposed him to her children, not knowing if there was going to be crazy people coming after him. I mean, it's poor Charles, so I mean, these things are a possibility. So I just found that really funny that his example kind of shows the judgment that she is herself questioning right now. And what's even funnier is that today I was on Facebook and I
Hmm.
saw the interview. It was an interview between with Liz and Franco,
Okay.
just like answering some questions, and they were asked a question of what do you think is your biggest strength or weaknesses of your character, and Elizabeth said, I think it's the same for both, which is, you know, her wanting to protect her kids but not really always doing it. Like her attempt at protecting his, I thought was really hilarious. So yeah, so it looks like Liz is still going back and forth, but I just find she's not like Cam. Like, Cam is more direct and decisive. He went in there,
Yes.
he said what he had to say, he knew what his feelings were, and we're just like, I'm not gonna get between you and everybody else. Like, I know this makes everyone happy, and these are my concerns. I'm laying it out there, and basically they're going to be moving forward knowing that Cameron has these concerns in his mind, and Franco knowing I have to make sure that I address this to get to a good place with Cameron,
And
even though I might be a good place with everyone else. And I
it
just
was
feel
very
like
mature.
he is, and I just find that Elizabeth is fooling herself. Like, I'm sorry, you're telling me you're going to tell him not to come to your house now that you have two little boys that actually like the guy and want him back and miss him and are happy that things turned out the way that they did. I just find it, I think it's just complete BS because I think she's going to take it back no matter what. And just all of this is just sort of like a little meaningless in a sense. Like, I feel like it's one thing if you were more, I guess, real about it, more explicit, like saying, like, look, I love you, we got married, and I understand, but I'm just letting you know that
Hmm.
right now in my mind, this is what I'm struggling with. And these are some things that we're going to have to address. It's basically saying, like, we're together, but I'm not ignoring this, and these are things we have to work on. Kind of like what
I,
Cameron did. And I just feel like that is, I think, more true to her than trying to play games and trying to be like, I don't know if you should come back, even though I really want you to come back. I just don't find that's as honest. I don't think she would ever be able to go through separating herself from Franco.
No, but like at the end of the, I can forget what day it is. So after her conversation with Drew, exactly like what you said, instead of having that conversation, she went into the room, they kissed, and she said, "Come home." I was like, "That's it?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
just
end of
think
it." Like
I
no,
just
like no rules, no. Hey, we need to work on this. Hey, we need to do therapy. Like it was just, oh, okay, now my mind's changed. Come home.
that's the thing. I feel like she didn't realize that there was a middle ground because I
Exactly.
feel like she feels guilty for not putting the kids first, or maybe not thinking things through, or recognizing that Franco is not the only one at fault for everything the kids went through, that she was also responsible for putting them through that, because all of those things were a risk having him in her life. Him being a suspect or thought of as when things go down, or just his history coming back to haunt them. Like all those things were real possibilities. And I just feel like she's trying to make herself accountable, but one way of doing that is acknowledging what the problems are directly to him. And
Exactly.
not taking them off the table. It's not a black or white thing. It's not like come home and I forgive all. It's come home and we'll work it out, like most families do. There's problems, and you work it out.
Well, she reverted back to, you're like, Elizabeth is I don't even want to say man crazy. She's boy crazy, because that's the way she approaches it. She approaches it like a young girl who the only thing that matters is that this boy likes me, I like him, and nothing else exists in the world.
Yeah, kind of.
So it's like she reverted back, like my kids, and all of a sudden she reverted back to this like high school version of herself that's like, but I love you, come home and everything will be happily ever after. It's like, no.
No, it's not like that. And you know what's really not happily ever after?
What?
Ava's life right now.
Ava, okay, but the thing is about Ava and the situation this week is she had so many honest, beautiful, truly human moments with other women
While
on the show. Like, okay,
intoxicated.
yes. Carly was like, well, like there was Carly, but then there was like Laura, and then there was Felicia. Those were like superhuman. I think those were like the most normal human interactions I've ever seen Ava have with another
Yeah.
woman.
Well, this is the first time that people are acting compassionate toward her, and especially someone like Felicia, because this is sort of what it's not under the right circumstances, but I mean, this is ultimately the circle that Ava's trying to get in with. She wants to stand side by side with upstanding, respected people of Port Charles. And then you have someone like Felicia coming to talk to her and being nice to her. I think she really appreciated that. And I think she was the most because like sometimes she goes back and forth to like cold and vulnerable, cold and vulnerable. I found with
Yes.
Felicia, she actually maintained a decent, polite pace.
I 100% agree. There was that commonality, and even though the situations were different, it was the first person who she could speak with that would truly understand what she went through.
And what I really loved her warning at the end. It's just funny because
Yeah.
Felicia warned her, and I think it was really appreciated because it showed that she cared, and she's also just basing that on her own reality. But at the
Mm.
same time, I was just thinking nothing would make Ava happier than him coming back for her.
I know. I
Not to say
know.
Felicia's not strong, but they're two different people, and Ava's not really afraid. Like she would look for him. Like she would do
True.
that.
I was thinking, so just talking about Ava and like those interactions, I was thinking about when the scenes happened last week with Joss speaking to Ava, and that we said something along the lines of it would have been nice if Ava kind of pulled like a mom, if Ava pulled like a mom thing with Joss
Yeah.
and said like, hey, let's bring you to the hospital. And then like that scene was in the back of my head when I was watching Ava and Carly together,
Okay.
because the interaction was very human, far more human than they ever have. And we always talk about Carly and Ava as frenemies. But I also really felt that one, Ava doesn't have a mom gene, and I think she wanted Carly to mother her a bit. Like she wanted
Yeah.
not just a friend, but that like extra level of something else specifically from Carly, because Carly does it really well.
She does have a mom aura, and she does seem to be like the universal mom to people. She does really give her all, even to people she doesn't like. Even back in the day with Robin, she picked up on the fact that Robin had postpartum and showed up at her house. They were never best friends. But if Carly thinks that she can sort of help you in some way,
Mm-hmm.
she does it. Like if she thinks that there's something connecting the two of you, she really won't hesitate, which is really interesting about her. But Ava was so small, you know, she was so broken and sitting on
Yeah.
that couch, and she was looking for a fight with Carly. But I think you're right that underneath it all, she was looking to be mommed, because who takes care of her? The whole point is Ava is always self-sufficient. She takes care of herself. But in a situation like this, like, she doesn't, you know, she doesn't have anyone really. Well, she has Julian, but
Oh,
he's just
please.
her ride when she's drunk. Um, but yeah, I think it's just really funny because, you know, frenemies, enemies, whatever, there's clearly a strong connection between Ava and Carly. You know, they play, like, Carly plays obviously some role for Ava. I mean, the reality is she goes to this girl when good things happen to her, and she came to her
Mhm.
when horrible things happened to her. And like when Ava like left, they kind of like smiled at each other, and there was like this niceness understanding between them, guised under like these little warnings. And it was, like, Carly, I just felt she was like shaking, kind of like, get her out of here before we're like more nice to each other. Like, just get her out of
Yes.
here.
I can't handle it. This is weird.
It was, because she really, you can't kick her when she's down. And that's the thing with Carly, she may not like you, but she's not going to sit there and tell you something is your fault when it isn't.
Exactly. Exactly.
And she, you know, it might not be her, like, the ideal thing, but the point is Ava was a victim, and she's able to kind of acknowledge that. And so we talked about Felicia, but like another component to that whole scene and interaction was that, like you said last week, that Kevin might fall into like the pit of like that town pariah. You called it an elite group, which is true, but he's falling, you know, like Max had it. Like, he said what he had to say to him.
He did, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, poor Charles. You know, your town of pariahs, your group, your elite group, meet your newest member, Kevin. Everybody say hello, Kevin.
I know. And it's just okay. So I just have to say, Laura is upset over what she found out over Kevin and doesn't
Mhm.
really feel she could continue the marriage at this point. She left a message for Alexis regarding the marriage, and I don't know what her final decision is going to be on the matter.
Yes.
But the thing is, what did she think would happen? Because when she knew this information, didn't she know that this was criminal?
Well, I was thinking that too. The level of surprise she had when the DA, who her hair looked fantastic, brought up the fact that he was going to be part of the case and he's going to be arrested. Like, she seemed so shocked.
Well,
Like she
I
didn't think anything
was
was going to happen to him.
Well, I was freaking out when she told Anna, because I'm like, you're straight up telling somebody from the WSB that your husband hid Ryan Chamberlain. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because Anna was kind of like, what? And I'm just like, I was scared in that moment. Like, why are you telling like a police person about this? And then
Mhm.
with the whole DA, and I'm like, I get that she's doing her job, but it's like, this is why nobody likes you. Like, look at how you're talking to Laura. Did
I
you think she'd be
know.
on board? And I was happy how Laura went at her. It's just like, I just don't understand the DA. Like, it's like, when she asked, do I have your support? What do you think she's going to tell you? She clearly doesn't like you, and she clearly doesn't think that Kevin should be responsible on that front because she
You
knows him.
you made a good point though. Like, you know, the whole thing you say, they leave out the most important part of the message. So when she was talking to Anna, even though I was thinking, yes, you're speaking to somebody who's on the side of the law and you're sharing a piece of information that you shouldn't, she left out the most important part. Who was Ryan working for, and then became useless to, and then shipped off to Kevin? The DRX or the DVR, I never get it right.
The
He
DVX, the DVR.
okay.
Oh, he worked for
I
the
just
guy
heard
that
that.
records all your soap operas. It's evil.
Oh, that's PVR.
Oh, oh, is it DVR also?
DVD, no?
I don't.
Anyways,
I don't
let's
think
just
we should.
continue.
We're not tech people, so I don't really think we should continue to have this highly
Anyway.
sophisticated conversation on our podcast.
So I was just thinking, like, you're leaving out the most important information from Anna because the whole like memory transfer and blah blah blah, like that's a huge part to the puzzle.
It is a huge part to the puzzle, but it's just, again, I just don't think that was a it's important information for Anna to have 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't really know what you can get from that now, like, to be honest. But anyways, the point is, Laura's getting her whether she wants him to be her husband, ex-husband, getting him into a lot of trouble. I mean, you could have been mad at him and then just sort of kept your mouth shut about him being in front of Cliff. I guess that wouldn't have worked out. I mean, at some point they would have to have a brain and figure it out. You
Yes,
know, why was he?
exactly.
why was he in Ferncliff to begin with? So Kevin looks like he's ready to take the punishment, but I'm really annoyed. Like, I know sometimes the DA is right in certain
Mm-hmm.
cases that she pursues, but I still root against her so much.
I agree. But okay, so talking about Ryan being punished, let's just take a little step back to sexy little Griffin.
Dr. Fight Club, who
Dr.
overheard.
Sexy, Dr. Fight Club, whatever.
So Dr. Fight Club, who, okay, so everybody sees him with more and more bruises, and I get the sense that everyone thinks that he's like boxing a bag.
Well, here's the thing. Remember when it was like he had the bruise on his forehead and people were thinking maybe he had a hairy forehead? Like we were just kind of going back and forth on the funny things that could happen. But exactly that. Do people think this punching bag is punching him back? Is he hitting the punching bag with his face? Like how is it
Or
that
no
it's
one
not just
cares
his
about
face?
him. It's
I
sad.
know. Or nobody looks up or maybe they get lost in his eyes. Like who knows
He is
how they're
pretty.
not seeing all the he is very pretty. And that's why I would notice all the bruises, be like, honey, what's wrong? Do you need a band-aid? But nobody else seems to notice. And then he overhears a very important piece of the puzzle and just freaking loses it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of dug it.
You're right. You do have a problem. He did. I mean, whatever practice he was doing, it kind of came in handy. But yeah, I kind of expected Ava to show up and stop him.
Me too, but I still love the fact that she was still drunk. Like she did such a good job
She's
this
been
week
drunk
of
for
like
a week.
I know, like drinking on the pier, just like cracking open a can of something, and then
Why everyone is always on the pier? I don't know what that's on Route 2, but typically it's like the edge of your city. And why Laura would be like in the middle of her like mayoral day and be walking on the pier is beyond me. Like when she found Ava earlier in the week. But yeah, so she's been drunk all week, and I wonder if that's fun, like as an actor to do. But just going back to Griffin for a moment, like as soon as the hand had come out, on like the
yes.
Thursday, it's like you can see the bruises on his hand. So it's like right away you're like, sometimes things are just as they seem. That Griffin heard and then Griffin punched. Like 1 + 1 = 2. Today was Griffin's last day.
And I didn't realize that was happening. So yes, I did like how Ava addressed the situation. Um,
Did you
Griff,
catch? Like I just feel like today some of the scenes were just really filmed great. Like even
mm-hmm.
Dante when he was on the phone with Frisco and Lulu in the background, I love that shot. And then the final shot of Kevin and Ava, I really really liked them on the pier. And we talk about this a lot. And since like a bunch of people are nominated for Emmys, it's such a prestigious award getting an Emmy nomination. So Maura West got one, Laura, a whole bunch of other people. But it's in that moment where Ava is being kind and warm to Griffin.
Yes.
Closest thing to like, I'm not even gonna say it's momming. She's just acting human. But
Human,
then
yeah.
when Kevin says thank you and she turns and gives him a glare, it's like how she goes from like warm to cold real fast.
Oh, that side eye. Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
It was so good. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I can't remember now, but when you're talking about the side eye thing, and I like when she was getting upset with the police officer, drops her phone,
I
picks it up.
know. But I just think like how dumb is that cop? You found Ryan Chamberlain?
I
Yeah. The
know.
guy patrolling the pier, not everyone in Canada, not like all the like major police people that have been on this case. You back in Port Charles, trolling on the pier is like, you're Ryan Chamberlain. It's like he's wearing it. Whatever. I just thought that was just
Okay, but
ridiculous.
you know what killed me the most if you're talking about ridiculous things? How he proved his identity to Mac and Felicia. He showed his hospital tag. How easy
Yeah.
is it to print out a hospital tag with a name on it?
I know, but how likely is it that you print out a hospital tag with their name on it? But at the same time, it's a really powerful mode of identification because even at the PCBD, like Laura was like, "No, let him go. It's my husband." That was enough.
I know. Oh,
I'm like,
they have
all
to
right.
tattoo Ryan. You know, like who? I can't remember if it was
It
Ava
was
who said,
Lulu.
"Oh, it was Lulu." It was like tattoo. We need to also tattoo Kevin on one and Ryan on the other. Not just like one tattoo. Just like put it on both of them, so we just know instantly.
I think that would probably be a good idea. But actually, let's just wrap up and say goodbye, like on the Griffin thing. So
Yes.
so I do love that Griffin's final scenes was with Lucas because even though he was Duke's son and that was part, I guess, of him coming to Port Charles, but also that Lucas was his point of contact, that they actually knew each other from the past. So that was kind of nice that Lucas, one person who may care about him, and his pretty face, as we saw in their interaction,
Yeah, so
noticing
cute.
all of his bruises. But like my favorite thing about Griffin's departure, because the actor has been doing a lot of directing and he has other projects, and
Mm-hmm.
he said it's super amicable. He wasn't at all bored with any of his storylines. He goes, I just needed, like, he just likes to be challenged and to do things that are scary. So he has a bunch of directing things that he wants to do, and he had himself said in an interview that it's very much open-ended, and that's like an amazing thing to have that possibility of maybe coming back here or there. Like, he's super open to it. So I just loved that when Griffin departs, you have
Mm-hmm.
Lucas that clarifies for now, like telling the audience, yeah, he's leaving. It's very open-ended, this departure. So I thought that was really cute.
But even Carly, she's like, did he just say goodbye?
Yeah,
I
I
thought that was really cute
know.
because I was thinking the same thing because I didn't know he was leaving. So I'm like, what is happening right now?
He's a
What's
super
going
sad
on?
guy. He's a sad
Yeah.
guy, and he needs to be
Yeah.
sad somewhere else, apparently.
All right, fine for now. I'll still follow him on Instagram.
So, one final thing I want to talk about before we end this week was I loved, even though like Willow is clearly terrified and needs to leave town, I love that she stuck it to Nina.
Me too. Seeing that Willow fire was amazing. I was so happy, and it kind of amps up when we keep talking about the fact that Willow is Nina's daughter, and that they're just at each other's throat. And Willow just gave it to her as is. This is what I think of you. This is how I feel, and I feel sorry for Charlotte. On top of it, I was like, damn.
I love it. And the thing is, Valentine did such a good job because he obviously agrees with a lot of what Willow's saying. He sees her point and he can see the faults in his own daughter. And but I just loved watching his facial expressions when he was hearing what Willow had to say. Like, I don't necessarily think he disagrees with her, but he was like, "Oh no, this is getting way out of hand." And I absolutely loved it. And I was just like, I love Nina, but put her in a scene with Willow and I hate her, because I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is it that you're not understanding about being like a kind person? And how are you not seeing any of this? But whatever, she doesn't. She's really delusional when she comes to Charlotte. But I I don't know if we're gonna get this far, but it
Hmm.
would be a slap in the face to Nina if Willow's prediction comes true, that another teacher comes in and they're getting the same feedback. Because what's
Honestly,
she
if
gonna do then?
they have to pursue that story that way. If not, Nina will never change the way that she responds to Charlotte because she's always going to blame it on Willow.
Because
But
it's
I was
true.
thinking, sorry, go ahead. Like,
Oh, well, because before we go to exactly what I know that you're thinking, I just want to say that I think you're right, like what you said, and I think it's important that we have somebody else that shows Nina that it's not just Willow who noticed this problem. Even though Lulu and Valentine have been trying to sort of show that to her too, because I don't think the revelation that Willow is her daughter will do any of that.
no, I don't think so either because it's going to take a really long time to kind of adjust and, as Alexis loves to say, unpack that situation.
Uh huh.
Um, I think that having another teacher, but the way Willow was speaking is she was making reference to the fact that Charlotte has other teachers and that other teachers notice her behavior and that she treats them and is in a class situation similar to that. So it might not just be Willow leaving and a new teacher coming in, but Charlotte has interactions with other teachers in the school. So what if
That's
Nina
true.
now goes to ask all these other teachers, actually takes to heart what Willow says, or maybe Valentine takes to heart what Willow says, which is probably more logical, and then he has to have that interaction with Nina and sit her down and tell her, okay, something needs to change.
I
That
think
would be
Nina
such
has to
a
be there too. I think she has to hear those things too. But let me ask you, did you have a prediction or something else that you wanted to say?
maybe. Would you like to tell me?
Oh, okay. So this is what I thought you were going to say earlier.
Okay.
So when Nina was like lurking around Willow and being so rude about her leaving and so awful, I thought that she was going to notice a certain necklace as part of her belongings.
No, I did not. Necklace was like totally not even on my radar.
So never mind then. But that's what I thought was going to happen, and then it did not.
Oh, but I
Again,
love
I
where your
think that's
head's
how
at.
I think obviously I think that's ultimately how the connection is going to be made, is her spotting the necklace at some point. But yeah, I thought that's what I thought was going to go down, but it did not.
You know what would be really interesting is if she was wearing a necklace the necklace, out on a date with Chase. But you know how Nina kind of jumps to conclusions the last time Willow and Michael was speaking. So let's say Chase goes to the bathroom. Willow's all dressed up. She's talking to Michael. Michael's all dressed up. She's expecting for Michael to be with Sasha, or maybe he's waiting for Sasha. But they have this moment, and then the light glares on the necklace, and Nina just loses it.
I think Nina losing it any time would be really amazing to watch because she's so good. She's such a good actress, and there's just so much like tension and passionate hatred between Willow and Nina, and also she's super irrational. So it would be really funny to have her unleash in front of somebody like Michael and somebody like Chase, where for the first time Willow is sort of like not isolated with someone who keeps
Yes.
saying these insane, crazy things. I would like that too, because I do find she acts super inappropriate, like she did at Charlie's with Willow, and kind of like backed her into a corner, being like a bully a little bit, being so rude. And so I kind of would love an explosion where other people do get to see how a little nutty she is when it comes to Willow.
Two explosions.
Two explosions.
To having a lovely weekend and enjoying hopefully some more sunshine.
Sounds like a plan, man.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.